Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the GameSir G4S. Let's get started. So the GameSir G4S is a multi-purpose controller. It's available on Amazon as well as a few other places. You can use it with a PS3, you can use it with Android, you can use it on your PC. It's a very, very versatile controller. It does Bluetooth and wired connection, and it also has a 2.4G wireless connection as well. Now the overall presentation of this controller is pretty nice. It's in a nice box, it's packed in there very well, and the controller feels pretty sturdy. So in the box there is a micro USB cable that you can use to charge or play, as well as this little clip here that you can use on the control arm on the controller itself that holds the phone in, adds extra stability. Now the instruction manual shows Bluetooth 4.0, 2.4 GHz with the included dongle, as well as the wired connection. And I'm noticing something right here that I would really like to stress. So I can see in the number 3 here, it says Happy Chick emulator. I don't recommend that emulator at all. Alright, so here is the GameSir G4S out of the packaging. I've had this for a couple weeks now and used it quite a bit. I'm pretty impressed by the controller. This part here is a rubber material on the sides. Now I think this is, hello cat. I think this is glued down, so I'm not sure how it's going to be in the future, if this glue will raise. It doesn't seem by the corners that it is down very well. So it is a little bit of a concern. You can see, I'll try to zoom in here. So at the back, the finish is okay, I guess. I'm not overly impressed with how it joins up around the controller itself. Apologies now that there's cat hair on the controller from the cat. So another thing I don't quite like about the controller is how loud the buttons are. So these buttons are extremely loud. If you are planning on using this, for example, on a train or on a bus or on an airplane, these buttons will annoy the person next to you. The triggers are quiet. The bumpers are loud. And these buttons here are actually very, very loud. So I'm not a big fan of how loud this controller is. That's probably my biggest gripe about it. Another thing I tried to do was charge this on no battery and play at the same time, and it would not allow me to do that. So some controllers you can play and charge. This one, it seemed that it would drain faster than it was charging, and it would not allow me to play and charge. The control sticks on this feel very, very nice. I'm a big fan of the control sticks. They're very smooth. There's a bit of lag, a very, very tiny bit of noticeable lag using Bluetooth on my phone. I think that will be device specific, so different phones will experience varying bits of lag just due to the specifications of the phone and how the controller interacts with it. So it's definitely not uniform. So some people will experience better connections and some people will experience worse. It's really trial and error. I tried this with a Galaxy S7, a Galaxy S5, a Galaxy S4, and a Note 9. And all of them did very well with pairing, and all of them were not that laggy. There was a tiny bit of input latency, I guess you could call it, with the left control stick, ever so slightly. So if you're playing a multiplayer game that requires a lot of precision, you may want to use this one, because you can also use it and connect it through a cable. So you could also just use the cable for this one and connect it over the cable to the Android device to eliminate all forms of latency. There's also a neat feature when this is powered up. So you just hold the center button to power it up. You can see all the buttons light up. So they go from like a gray-black color to the blue, yellow, red, and green. And then this is just, right now it's flashing because it's searching to pair with my phone. One thing I have noticed is I've had to manually go into the Bluetooth connection each time to pair it. Powering this on and having Bluetooth on my Note 9, it does not automatically pair. I have to select the GameSir device, and then it will work. In terms of the D-pad, this is probably, I have a love-hate with this D-pad. So I do not like how this D-pad itself, when you push it in, you can push the whole thing right to the base, and then none of the directions will really work. So I don't like that at all about it. However, if you're just using the outsides, it functions very similar to an Xbox 360 D-pad, which some people love and some people hate. The thing I don't like about, I don't have any problem with that. The thing I don't like about it is it's grooved in the center, and you can accidentally press it right down, and then none of the directions will work. I wouldn't have minded if they had some sort of pivot joint underneath this, so you could pivot it a little easier around. However, sometimes if you accidentally press it in the center, for example, if you're using a game that needs a lot of directional pad movement, you may miss some inputs just based on this whole D-pad being pressed in. So to power it off, you just have to hold the Bluetooth button and it will power off. There is on the inside, when you flip up the control arm here, there is a turbo and a clear button. If you want to use those usually come in handy, especially considering how loud these buttons are. There's also an included 2.4G wireless adapter that you can use, for example, for your Windows PC. I would recommend using this over the Bluetooth connection. I found the Bluetooth connection is decent on the Windows PC. However, using the adapter here was considerably better. My only gripe on this is I can't get this out using my fingers. It's jammed in there very, very, very tightly. So I'm not joking at this point. To open it up, I use a butter knife and slightly pry it out. And I'm very worried that I'm gonna break it while doing it, but there's the little adapter that hides in there very nicely. And you can plug this into your PC for a 2.4 gigahertz connection, as opposed to the Bluetooth, which in my opinion is a lot better. And then when you're done with it, you can just slide it right back in and it snaps in, and then good luck getting it out again without another butter knife. The control arm now, this part I really, really like. There are two angles for the control arm. There's this one here that you can hold a phone and up just like that. Now, both of these angles are completely usable, which I am very, very, very impressed with. With the Moga, for example, one of the angles you're not able to use the controller with, and I'll show you that in a second. Now here's the Moga controller, and this is exactly what I want to talk about here. You can see in comparison, this grips, the actual control arm here, has a ton more grip for your phone. And when I slide this phone in, at this length it's okay. However, when I change the angle here, like this, the buttons become inaccessible. So it's really hard to press these back buttons down and actually use this as well without hitting the phone. So at this angle, the 90-degree angle on the Moga controller, this is a Moga Hero, it's unusable. So the GameSir has the added bonus that both angles are usable on the phone. So here is the two different angles, and you can see how quickly that snapped out. I'm using a phone case. So this is a Galaxy S5 just for demonstration purposes. And you can see that it's not really gripping the phone all that well. And it does have a phone case on. And mind you, this is a fairly low profile phone case. If you do have a thick phone case, for example, an OtterBox or something like that, it may be a bit of a pain. So they do luckily have an additional piece here, which you can see. This attaches to the actual control arm. It just slides on fairly easily here and goes right down. And now that gives you a lot more of a lip for your phone. So now when you slide the phone in, Oops, the top came out. Now when you slide the phone in here, you can see the bottom is gripping a lot better. The top still, I kind of wish there was one for the top. The top still has a little bit to be desired, but overall the phone's not really coming out, and I'm shaking this pretty good. Now without a case and just the phone in general, I'll show you how the actual controller stands up, and you can see it grips. Still a bit of an issue, but this particular phone, the Galaxy S5 here, does have a few ridges on the actual outer aluminum piece here, so it does grip a heck of a lot better. But if you are using any sort of case, which again, I would highly recommend using a case with your phone. I don't think I would ever want to use no case with a phone. You will need this little extended piece right here. Now the issue with this extended piece is that it does not store anywhere within this controller. So for example, if I'm trying to close this piece does get in the way. I cannot close the control arm. And now if I try to be clever and put this up just a little bit, maybe a little bit over the ridge, or if I even put it on backwards here to give a little extra just to fit it over top. What happens now is this button is pressed in by the control arm. So what'll end up happening if you do this is your controller probably will run out of battery because it won't turn off. So there's no real great way to store this little piece other than put it in your pocket, and you may actually lose it if that's the case. So that's another gripe I guess I have with this controller, but besides that, it's not too bad. Now from a size comparison, this is roughly the size of an Xbox 360 controller. It is slightly, ever so slightly different in shape, but if you have an Xbox 360 controller, this is pretty much the size of one. Now, you will not be able to fit this in your pocket, maybe a jacket pocket, but definitely not a pants pocket, unless you've got like one of those massive pair of pants from the 90s. Realistically though, these will not fit in anyone's pocket. Now, maybe a backpack, maybe a jacket pocket. So in terms of portability, if you have a bag with you, this will fit fine in it. If you're just walking around, you know, you might want to get something smaller, for example, like this 8-bit dough here. Now, the issue with the 8-bit dough is that it is two pieces. So you have the extender here, the clip for the phone, and then you have the actual controller. The 8-bit dough also has one with joysticks right here, as well as an L2 and R2 button. The issue I found with the 8-bit dough controller though, right now they do not have one that has the arms on the controller, as you can see the difference. So with the 8-bit dough controllers, after a while it does get very heavy on your hands, as you can see where the pressure kind of is on my hand here, and it's tiring after a while. So if you're on a flight, for example, and want to play with your controller and play games for, I don't know, like maybe 3 hours or so, because you've got literally nothing else to do on the flight, the 8-bit dough might get a bit exhausting, whereas this is far more comfortable for longer play sessions. I would definitely take the GameSir over the Moga series of controller, both the Pro Power and the Hero. However, the Hero would win out in terms of portability. This controller is far more portable than the GameSir 4GS. So if you do have space, go with the GameSir 4GS. If you need portability, go with the Moga. Now the Moga's triggers are not the greatest, and the D-pad is pretty bad. So in comparison with the GameSir just feels much better built. It's a heavier controller, and it seems pretty good. Would I recommend the GameSir G4S? Yes. Would I recommend it over the 8-bit dough, which I think is honestly the best gamepad on the market right now for Android phones? Maybe. It depends on how you need to use it. For example, the 8-bit dough you can use with the Nintendo Switch. This GameSir you cannot. It all depends on your need and usability. So I would 100% recommend the GameSir over the Moga Hero. Over the 8-bit Do, it would depend. I would say that the GameSir is very good if you're Android gaming, need analog sticks, and if your phone is heavy. Phones are getting bigger, phones are getting heavier. The extra grip that the GameSir controller provides that the 8-bit Do does not have, even on the Pro models of the 8-bit Do, it doesn't have these extenders. So the controller grips here are extremely, extremely helpful and very good for longer gaming settings. So for example, if you are on a plane for like an 8-hour flight and wanted to game for a little bit because you've literally got nothing else to do, the GameSir might actually be better for a longer gaming session. It's more comfortable on your hands, less pressure. There is an 8-bit Do coming out later with the actual grips attached, built right into it, which will be really nice. However, currently, I would say if you need extended gaming time, you need the extra buttons. The GameSir G4S is the way to go. Anyways, that's all I've got for today. If you have any questions or comments, let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Thank you, everyone. Take care.